I do now.
I have to go home, I guess.
Yeah, we normally have Sergeant Robert Dowd from the police department, but he's,
Really the only reason why I came in person today. So
I
you
know.
might as well just excuse me.
He is very nice.
he's a good guy. Okay,
As opposed to every other time I come. Yeah.
okay, we should be ready to go.
Beautiful, all
Just being a
right.
Thank you. My understanding is yes.
Okay.
Very good.
Oh, perfect. All right, well, welcome everyone to the Wednesday, November 13th meeting of the Human Rights Commission. We'll start as usual with our welcome and introductions, but pay special attention because we got some new commissioners, yay! So how this works is introduce yourself, your pronouns if you would like, your position on the commission, or if you are a guest, and then pass it to someone else. So my name is Kelsey. I use she, her pronouns. I am the vice chair of the commission. I think that's it. And I'll pass to Hope.
Okay, I'm Hope Strayer. I am the youth commissioner for Salem Human Rights Commission. I live in West Salem. Yeah, I use she, her pronouns. I'm gonna pass her over.
Hello everybody, my name is Robert Marshall. I use he, him pronouns. I am a commissioner on the Human Rights Commission. I live in Ward 2 and work in Ward 1. I'll pass it to this gentleman.
My name is Jeffrey Evans. I'm in Ward 6, I think it is. And I have probably one of the only wheelchair accessible houses in Salem, since we built it that way. I'm new. I've been the commissioner for 2 minutes. But I've also been a crip rights activist for 50-some years. And so been pushing the city to establish a disability rights commission. And so this was the vehicle open at the moment. So that's why I'm here.
Great, well, thank you and welcome.
It's good to have you. Good evening. My name is Joaquin and I'm a member of this commission. And I live in Ward 8. Gretchen, why don't you go?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Gretchen Bennett, staff to the commission, she, her pronouns. And how about we do you, Kate, and then go to Zoom?
Okay, my name is Kate Strachey. I live in Ward 1. I use she, her pronouns, and I've been a commissioner for I think a year. And then we just re-upped. So let's go.
Congratulations.
Great. So we'll go online. Kirsty. Kirsty, you want to go?
Yes. So hi, I'm Kirsty Rudich, new member of the commission. I started at Western Oregon University with their Salem building, but I just switched over to a new role with Salem Kaiser's C-Tech school. So that should be fun. Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. And then the other person on my queue.
I'm dropping things. Sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Kira Pressey. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a member of this commission. And I always forget what ward I live in. So
I love it. Well, welcome everyone. We also have another new commissioner, Judy, who I believe just couldn't make it today. So we'll have another new face next time. Moving on to public comment. We did receive a public comment not too long ago from Linnell. Just some feedback on the kind of packet that was sent out. So did everyone have a chance to read? Totally okay if you did.
Yes.
So we got a lot of information. Which one are we
I know.
referring to?
So Linnell provided feedback. She had concern about the feedback survey, and I think the draft survey that I created. There was it just issued the permissions and then we'll discuss that in a minute, but I set the permissions to public and that she was appreciative of our efforts, the efforts that we're taking today on citizenship and sanctuary cities. And then she had a question about what I wanted her to kind of speak about at Salem Speaks Up, and then I forgot, so just checking with Gretchen on what.
Okay.
All right, great. Seriously. Yeah, I have it right in front of me and that's all. Any other public comment received, Gretchen?
No, none other received.
Perfect. Moving on to the consent calendar, is there a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
Whoa.
Seconded.
It's been moved.
Third.
Fourth.
It's been moved by Joaquin, seconded by Robert. Let's go.
I know, it's okay.
And third by Kate. All those in favor, thumbs up or aye or.
Aye.
smile at me. Beautiful. All those opposed?
Abstain.
That was my next question. All those abstaining.
I wasn't here, so.
Perfect. All right. Well, that passes. So, yay. Bias crime update. Gretchen, did you receive any?
I did not,
Okay.
so we'll have to wait for next meeting. Yeah.
Next month. What about complaints of discrimination?
Yes, although I guess one other thought on the bias crime, I did link the county data in that very long email. So just an FYI, the Oregon Department of Justice bias hotline county link is in there for your convenience in the email. I had one complaint come in during the month that related to an interaction in the parking lot of a place of public accommodation. Unkind words for about 5 minutes expressed at a person who was newly here from another country. And so we denounced the hate and actually brought them in to have them meet the mayor so that the mayor could denounce the hate that they'd experienced and officially welcome them to Salem and let them know that they'd like them to be here. But so we had that situation, but that was it for that particular month.
Are there cameras in the parking garage?
It was actually in an open parking lot at a
Okay.
place of public accommodation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There might have been cameras on that incident, though. I didn't think to ask about that.
That way identify the person.
Yeah, what they had done doesn't rise to being illegal, but
Okay.
just uncomfortable for the person experiencing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Yeah,
Any
of course.
questions for Gretchen on that? Seeing none,
Keep going, I got
citizenship sanctuary in chapter 97. So Gretchen in the email to everyone linked in some kind of breakdown of what we were thinking about citizenship as a protected hello, are you Judy?
I am.
Oh, Judy.
Oh, you're really, I am.
Okay.
Wait a second, are you Judy Collins?
No,
Yeah, this is a different Judy.
different Judy.
That's amazing.
Whoa.
What are the chances of that? I'm like, cause I've met the other Judy.
And I don't look like-
Right. Wait a minute. But we're glad you're here, Judy.
Okay.
Well, thank you. You're a guest, a person in the public coming to see us?
I am.
Great, we're glad you're here.
I actually applied to be on the board, so.
Oh, good. Oh, yes, thank you. I think we have a Judy who's applied and a Judy who's recently been appointed.
Whoa.
Well, that's very exciting. Well, welcome.
We'll have two
Very
members and
excited
two
to have
Judys in our
you.
future.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking at citizenship, if you wanna either remember or pull up or what have you about the document that Gretchen sent. We just need to discuss kind of the format of the event that we were thinking. Getting some community partner feedback and community feedback about how best to go about this. So we'll move into questions and comments. Discussion about that. Thoughts?
I'm guilty, I didn't read it. So what's the question before us?
Oh, that's it. You got it, Gretchen?
That's
you.
the document, and I think the question is, do you have any changes to this sketch as developed and discussed last time? And when would you be interested in holding the gathering? I think are the two questions before you today, and Celine is joining us.
Yeah, any feedback or changes that folks are seeing?
It's a solid list. I think a topic is really applicable now. And I know we talked about how the holidays are hard, so that's gonna be difficult, but at least January, February, like I would say soon we can. We have a couple of events over December, right? So January, February, March, if we can put something on the calendar, I would recommend, but it looks really good. Thank you, Gretchen.
You're welcome.
One question I might suggest.
Yeah.
Is relating to disability status. Because this country, like most countries, has a presumption if you have a disability, you will become a public charge. And your applications for visas can be denied. The question becomes, what if you become disabled while you're a green card holder? Will that affect you?
Do you have any community partners in mind that you would like to see us invite? Who might could like bring some expertise?
Well, actually, that's kind of what we're building, this capacity within the community. But my suggestion would be, well, you've got the Willamette Immigration Clinic, but attorneys that out there practicing that deal with immigration, because they would know it before the Willamette Clinic would, because they would be dealing with it. It would be nice, although probably not possible at this point, to get somebody from the State Department, if there's somebody who's involved with the consulate, that could address that, because they're on the front line. Maybe somebody from USCIS in Portland, because they would be the ones encountering it front in initial applications and interviews, enforcement actions, etc.
Disability Rights Oregon might be good too. I have contacts with them, so we could copy. Yes, I'm sure they have lawyers as well.
Yeah, just not available in the share on SSI.
And they don't do immigration.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would pitch doing it in March or April. The reason for that would be to give the incoming administration 100 days, see what they're going to do. I have a feeling that folks don't have a lot of questions and anxiety, and if we have it too soon, before 20th of January, there will be answers other than conjecture.
I like that. Yeah, it also gives, as you mentioned, time, I think, for, these professionals that we're inviting to address some of those concerns that are coming as a result of policy within the new administration. And, it saves us from essentially just having to do this event twice. So, not that I'd be opposed to, doing it, multiple times a year, but just to get that information out at once.
I think the biggest question too is what the new administration position on naturalized citizenship is going to be, whether they'll revoke that for folks. And even if they do, that'll be a legal question for a long time, I suspect. So, anyways, we don't know what we don't know, and so I think giving us time to be able to, for them, the participants of the panel, to soak up information and then be able to be confident whatever information they relay to the public.
What might be good is, we've got Willamette's Immigration Clinic around here, but, speaking with some of the local universities to see if they have departments and anything that, kind of specifically working with, individuals like, students and everything that are on DACA, and what programs and everything they offer, and what supports and everything they offer, and everything specifically to students in the universities. That'd be good to bring into the conversation.
And holding it later would also give additional time to try to rustle up some people who can deal with the disability and immigration question.
I'm hearing some support for like maybe an April date. That sound about right? Okay, perfect. The next steps Gretchen, I know you were taking vast notes. Do we wanna just like connect with partners? Do we wanna set up a date? Hold off.
Yeah, it might be smart for me to now build from the list in your discussion today, build the list of partners, and then maybe offer some dates around and see what's working for everybody. I think the concept also included doing a meeting distinct from your normal meeting, so it wouldn't be like the second Wednesday in April, it would be a different day, for example, so I do a little polling. Great, yeah, that
And
works.
we talked about maybe getting the partners together ahead of time to just talk about it, like talk through what they would want to discuss, or if there's any questions, like themes or questions that they want to discuss too. So this would give us plenty of time to like plan something
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's,
cohesive.
I think it's also good because then we can, provide some of the questions that we have and then they can, research those questions ahead of time versus us just asking on the spot.
Yeah.
We can avoid a lot of, I'll get back to you on that.
We did that, Jenny.
we did, yeah. We have the questions in that document, and so one of the things would be, do you wanna add to that, what do they wanna respond to and be asked? What other questions do you all have? Yeah, okay. Be partners.
One other question that we might consider asking is if they anticipate just people who appear to be Latino, or are they planning on addressing generalized questions of citizenship? Because my wife's a naturalized citizen from Ukraine, and she's rather stressed, to say the least. So that to a point where we're prepared for me to have to retrieve her citizenship documentation if necessary. So.
Yeah, I think our idea is citizenship and immigrants as like a whole. That includes everyone, also documented, not undocumented. So yeah, we'll have to like keep that in mind to like make sure that this is like full inclusive of it. So if you all like think of some more partners that we should invite, or questions or things that we should keep front of our mind, either share it with Gretchen or bring it to the meeting. This is very exciting. Rent ordinances, that was Ilana, correct?
It was, but I have a brief update. I know Alana couldn't be here tonight. Also, they and I reached out to Eunice Kim, the planner who had done the Our Salem pieces, to see if, because you might remember at the last meeting, there was interest in seeing the feedback from that process for small minority-owned businesses and their experiences. They didn't have a way to sort of just package that and send it to me to send to you, but they said they'd be happy to come to a meeting. And so we're trying to time it when Alana can be there, so Eunice can come in December. And that's also the person who does the Our Salem planning piece. Jeffrey, you'd be interested in that, FYI.
The horrendous comprehensive plan, which is a violation of the Fair Housing Act, of the Section 504 Act. You might warn her. I'll have questions.
Okay, will do. I will. But so just that short update, that we'll anticipate a more complete conversation at the next meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Unless you had anything to add, because I know you were interested in that topic too. I didn't mean to just say that was the only thing.
So I'm still figuring out what our role in the planning commission is for policy. Because as far as I can tell, we don't do it. But that could change. Everything we do in the planning commission is basically quasi-judicial. Which is odd. We have to, I think we should be more in the policy making business, so.
Okay.
We'll see what the appetite is, though. I can't do it unilaterally, I have to need support from the commission. So if you recall, that was more down the line because we wanted to flesh out our ideas here before we took it to the commission.
Yeah, I have an interest in that area too, because, well, couple of weeks ago, a group of us kind of expressed our concern to high-ranking members of the administration here about how planning is going on and leaving out people with disabilities. And we can't understand why. Because the law has been in effect, depending on the specific statute, 47 years for Section 504 of the Rehab Act, 34 years for the ADA, 36 years for the Fair Housing Act, and 22 years since Barton v. City of Sacramento really clarified what the role of local government is in complying with the ADA. So.
I have a good question.
Please.
Just for the people online, can you hear us okay? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sometimes when I'm online, I can't hear when we're like speaking lower, so just letting everyone
I
know.
personally have just been reading the captions.
Yeah.
Right now, because
So you might want to speak up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. I just.
My wife's been training me, telling me don't speak so loudly.
It's everyone. I'm just kidding.
Then you come here and
I didn't want to
speak
interrupt.
loudly.
Well, with all the women around. How, I mean. That'll change.
Moving on to the missing and murdered Indigenous people.
Yeah, so we have an update by way of Gretchen.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get this wrong. So
That's okay.
Gretchen called me.
It's benefit.
She said, he goes, can I call you? And I said, yeah, I have 4 minutes. She goes, that's all I have too. Yeah. I feel like I remember 4 minutes a couple weeks ago. But basically, for those who are new to the commission or guests, we floated the idea of bringing to Salem an event that happens all around North America, which is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Day, which is a vigil held on February 14th. Started out of Vancouver, BC, 15 years ago, maybe a little longer. It's an event that I've done elsewhere, but when I bring it to Salem, Gretchen learned that we have MOUs of tribes, specifically Siletz and Grand Ronde, and so any planning vis-a-vis that day likely would involve the tribes, which of course we wanted to do, but in a very product specific way. And so we're trying to elaborate what that is and figure out what that is. February, which I said on the outset a month ago, was probably a little ambitious anyways, this coming February, so maybe the February after, but we want to get it right, want to do it well. My only caveat to that, which we didn't have time to talk about, is that the Indigenous experience in Salem is much larger than Siletz Indians and Ron, and so I can imagine that there are a lot of folks from communities outside of those two tribal communities who would be interested in the event being put up in Salem and being successful and being representative of their cultural interests. So that's the only caveat I would add to that is we want to involve the tribal entities, but also reach as many Indigenous communities as possible. That's my brief of that.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I was gonna ask, in the past, has city council done a proclamation for missing and murdered Indigenous people? Or is that something we could ask
Not
the
that I
council? Is
recall.
that something we could ask the council
It
to
is.
do? I mean, if we're not able to, put together, anything big, given the time constraint, I think urging council to issue a proclamation is something we could accomplish before February 14th.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, I was going to ask if there's. Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. You can tell me if it's been done, but perhaps working with local colleges and Portland State, U of O, whatever, and develop a documentary to run on cable or community service programs dealing specifically with this issue. Because I pick it up because, I've got a number of friends in the film community who are in Canada, and they discuss this all the time because several of them are First Nations. And it's a problem. A lot of people aren't aware of it. And that if there's some way that we might sponsor that kind of production, we also give an opportunity for perhaps film students, broadcast students, journalism students to produce something that can go into their portfolio. And it's a way of getting the message out. It's kind of perhaps a lead up to next year having a proclamation by the city. Just a thought.
I don't know if that is necessarily under our purview. I think we can like float it to be like, this would be a cool idea. That like maybe we can be involved in. It's kind of like bringing people to the table. But I don't know about that.
My general reaction to Tori is that probably twofold. The first is, as you know, likely the city is more than an austerity budget. And we do not have a discretionary budget as a commission to spend on projects. And so I think you alluded to funding that project in part, and we would be able to do that. Not that it's not
Or securing funds.
I'm not sure if we could do that. I don't know. That would be a legal question.
We'd have to think through the
Soliciting.
process, yeah.
I'm not sure if we do that, but, and the second thing I would say is, typically these events are kind of vigils, for community building. And I think a film could complement that, but I wonder, given the energy and the kind of we're dealing with, that would be the best allocation of our time and energy to. So I'd rather see a community event where folks come out and can gather and be together. If I had to pick.
I'm thinking for something for 2026, not 2025.
Sure.
I have a question, and this is just my ignorance. So my knowledge of this day is missing and murdering Indigenous women and Two-Spirit folk.
That's right.
Has it been expanded? Okay,
That is the.
okay. Any other questions or discussion around that?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Did we think about partnering or reaching out and working with the Chemawa Indian School?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We haven't done any of the outreach yet, Christy, so I would, yes, we've thought about that. And I think we should do that.
It might help to just sort of take a temperature, like if folks seem generally interested, we could start thinking through next steps, or is that a little premature?
My bias would be to work towards a proclamation for this coming year and have that maybe precipitate outreach that might lead to an event in 26 that could start now. And so we could do outreach anytime, and go ahead.
I was gonna ask Joaquin, would you feel comfortable drafting some language for a proclamation that we could share with, we could maybe share at the next month's meeting that, proposed language we would like for council to include?
Yes, with the caveat that I think we should probably float it by tribes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so, I think if we start kind of, if you've got connections, want to reach out, ask them what language they would want to include, make it a collaborative piece so that we can present what we think we'd want council to read.
maybe it's also partnering with like their tribal councils, like this, they might already do something, and like how can we uplift those events as well?
we have tribal council presidents who live in Salem, Salem residents. So. They're here.
And they might already have information or a film or something put together that could use.
I know there's quite a bit of media out of First Nations Canada, only because it's where it's originated.
Okay,
I think we voted last time, Gretchen, about interest. So I don't know if we need to vote about that again. We voted before about interest.
On this?
Yeah.
Great then. So if we're comfortable, we're comfortable. Good. Okay,
I remember that. 'Cause
great.
Yeah, we do.
Good memory.
I don't remember anything, so.
I was like, yeah.
Well, it sounds like that hasn't changed, that folks are still expressing curiosity and support, so good. Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
All right. Moving on to the meat and potatoes of the agenda, election of officers. So. Great. Do we want to start with the chair? Do we usually start with?
Why don't we give some background to the folks who are in? Oh,
So, we usually have annual elections for, everyone here, where we elect both the vice chair and the chair. The chair's job is to obviously run meetings, and to approve the agenda and minutes for them to go forward to the commission. And just general like leadership things, sometimes maybe asked to attend a meeting or share something. And then the vice chair just kind of takes over when the chair is unable to meet their needs. So we usually do elections in December, but things got switched around, and we are chairless for the moment. So we moved them up to now. So, folks, if they were interested, they could either email Gretchen or at this moment say like self-nominate or have asked someone to nominate themselves for that. So, we'll do nominations for each position, and then, I don't think we have like a standard thing, but maybe like a 1 to 2 minute spiel about why you want this position, what you would bring to this position, and etc. Does that?
Is this, clarification, is this just chair, vice chair, or is it other positions as well?
Chair and vice chair, and then the chairs of our committees and task forces are kind of brought as a needed basis, and then they'll be put forward to the chair, and then the chair approves those chairs for the committees. Yeah, so just vice chair and chair tonight.
And for those who are joining us, we have three committees. That's the main.
Yes, the community engagement, LGBTQIA+, and then our data. What did data
I guess,
visualization?
well, that's still on the community
Oh.
engagement. I was thinking of the process stuff. Yeah.
Could we consider another committee tonight?
We have, so remind me of how we determine committees. Is it, do we vote on it or does, okay,
You would vote, so it would require a motion and a second, and then a vote of the majority.
okay,
Yeah, or a majority would vote to support
Mhm.
creating a committee. Yeah.
okay. So that could be, something that we either add to next month's calendar or agenda. Or during member remarks and announcements, you can float the idea.
Mhm.
And we can discuss.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to start with chair?
Sure, why not?
I nominate Joaquin for the chair.
All right, there has been a motion to, well, no, this is not a motion. Joaquin, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Perfect, great. Anyone else want to either self-nominate or nominate someone else? Gretchen, did you receive any in email?
I did not.
Okay, perfect. Joaquin, do you want to give us a 1 to 2 minute spiel?
Sure.
Practice just some speech.
I didn't prepare it.
You didn't prepare a stump? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Robert, so much. That means a lot, and thank you, Kelsey, too. This coming year will be my 3rd year on the commission. And it also means that with Kelsey, I think, and I don't know if it's.
He is, but David anticipates
Is-
concluding his service at the end of December.
So that means that with David's departure and me and Kelsey, hopefully Kelsey remaining on the commission in the new year, come on now. We're the only ones who have been, with hope, the only ones who've been here more than a year. And, right? I have
I've been here for a
a
year.
year?
Yeah.
You're
Almost.
2 years,
We had-
is what you're
we
getting.
had-
We'll never stop.
And so I.
Draw my nomination?
My point with that is that as the commission gets younger in experience and larger, I look forward to bringing some of that institutional knowledge. If I'm, become the chair, so I'll be the third chair I've lived through here, and there've been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges. I think last year especially has been tumultuous, not from leadership per se, but just the sort of public engagements and projects that we have undertaken. I think we've learned a lot from that, and we have several projects, a couple of them that I've kind of kickstarted that I'd like to see through in my capacity as a chair. I just kind of as a broad statement, say that I'm always here to collaborate with you, and look forward to doing this good work where we serve as, we make Salem as good a place for as many as people as possible, and so be honored to serve as chair. And thank you for your vote if you wish to cast it in my favor.
Thank you, Joaquin.
That is not speech.
That was great. I do want to say that Joaquin's, been a consistent presence at the Human Rights Commission, a consistent presence on a lot of the committees. I personally think you have a very welcoming personality. You bring a lot of great, ideas onto the body. I think you're always really great at kind of helping steer the conversation and getting us to, some just really impactful outcomes. And I look forward to, should, the body agree with me, I look forward to your leadership in the coming year as the chair of the commission.
Thank you.
Any questions? I don't know if that's appropriate, but I don't know. Any questions for Joaquin?
Not a question, but I would have I joined this nomination. Didn't want to start the whole train since I'm leaving in August, and I felt like that would be, a little too pushy for someone who's not going to be here for the whole term, but I third that nomination.
Thank you.
Right. Any other discussion?
I move we vote.
All right, there has been a motion. So all those in favor of approving Joaquin's nomination for chair position, thumbs up or aye.
Aye.
Great, all those opposed, all those abstaining. Great, that passes.
And Kelsey's like, not me.
Okay, very excited. This just made my day. Moving on to vice chair. Did you receive any nominations?
I did not.
I would like to toss my name into the vice chair position of the Human Rights Commission.
All right. I was about to ask you, do you accept your own nomination? No, I don't. All right, so we have Robert. Is there anyone else who would either want to self-nominate or nominate someone else? I'll second.
You're so welcome, Robert.
I think you've done a great job.
Can I comment?
Yeah.
So this is a surprise. I welcome this self-nomination. Robert has been in his 2 years on the commission. A year has been a dedicated member of this commission, and I think though he has several accomplishments, I think during his tenure, none greater than the amazing work he did with the homelessness town hall, which was a resounding success and a much needed event in Salem. And so thank you for your energy, and I hope that if you're approved, I hope to work with you closely. Thanks for coming here.
All right, so last call for any nominations for vice chair.
I'll call the question.
Right. No more. I'm gonna pause on the call to question. Any questions for Robert? Robert, do you want to give a little spiel?
Yeah, I just will give a little bit of a stump speech. I didn't prepare one, but I'm extremely passionate about the Human Rights Commission, probably one of the best bodies that I've worked on. I wholeheartedly believe in, the mission of, what we do here and the motives of everybody, and the input that everybody brings to it. For me, one of my, while I'm passionate about human rights as a whole, one of my, areas of expertise, so to say, is housing and homeless services. It's an area that I work in, full time in my day job. I know that that has increasingly been a priority for the Human Rights Commission, in ensuring that, our unsheltered individuals have a safe place to sleep, and that, our individuals living in poverty remain housed. And I feel that, by combining my passion as well as the expertise and thing that I, bring into my professional world and everything, I, look forward to the opportunity to continue bringing those to this table, and helping this body shape policies in the future for the city council that will ensure that our unsheltered individuals and those experiencing poverty can participate fully in life in the city.
Oh, that's really good.
Robert. All right, any questions, discussion? Okay, moving to a vote, all those in favor of Robert as vice chair, say aye, raise your hand, or.
Aye.
All right, all those opposed? All those abstaining? Yay, we have a new leader! No,
Can I make more
Like you-
comment? I, as Joaquin and I have just now been appointed to the new positions, I do want to take a moment to recognize all the work that Kelsey's put into the Human Rights Commission,
Yeah.
her leadership as the vice chair, as well as her leadership on the LGBTQIA+ committee, previously the task force. You've been an absolute joy to work with. I enjoyed seeing you at all the meetings, and just your passion for the work that we do. Your leadership has been infectious, and I look forward to trying to live up to the legacy that you're leaving behind.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's been a year. Fine.
It's been a year.
I'm very excited about where this commission has been and where it's going. So like, I'm getting emotional. It's fine, everyone. This is very exciting. Thank you all for having that election. Welcome. I don't like that you said that you're gonna go in August.
I don't know what to do about this, right?
Just gonna keep going.
Not acknowledge that fact.
There's still time to apply to OSU.
All right, moving to committee and project
I
update.
can help.
Or Lemon, she stays here.
And then you
Yes.
win-win.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Wherever you want to go, and I will support you.
I can edit your essays for financial aid.
That's a generous.
He's offering to pay for it, hope, so that is a win. I don't know.
Community engagement committee, Joaquin.
I wasn't at the community engagement committee, so yes, please, Robert.
So I had the privilege of stepping in for Joaquin and helping facilitate last month's meeting. We had Professor Bradshaw from Western Oregon University. She and her class help us by really taking on a bulk of our community belonging survey. So she provided kind of some guidance and everything on what we wanted to see for the next year. A big kind of conversation topic and everything was the idea of doing more qualitative data collection. And we talked quite a bit about potentially doing town halls. There's a lot of interest from people that were here in attendance, and we all agreed that was really a great idea. We had concerns though about whether or not we could effectively pull off a qualitative survey gathering in terms of town halls within this short amount of time. The conversation then kind of steered towards well, is that something the commission could do, anything outside of, you know, the quantitative data that's generally collected during the survey? And I'm happy to announce that Professor Bradshaw was extremely excited about, well, she seemed eager to come back to another meeting, I think, present further on that topic. And she is also, you know, agreed to kind of put together kind of like a one pager or, you know, kind of like a guide on how to facilitate town hall. She's done several town halls. And so we'd asked if she would be interested in kind of, you know, providing us you know, the town hall how-tos. And she said she'd be interested in, you know, lending her time and expertise for us on that. So we look forward to having her in future meetings. And I believe that was really the only thing we covered I think that took up most of our time.
I think two things to add. One, her perspective was, what is offering value to her students? And every year is doing the same survey year over year. What is the value to her students in that class, right? They're not really iterating on it at all or learning. So she was trying to figure out a way that they could still engage and adapt this year and help us. And then the second thing, I'm forgetting. Never mind, we'll come back to that. But yeah, it was a great meeting. I think, you know, we'll see. But did we talk about going through the questions? Because it's a really long survey too.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what we left off in terms of the
Reviewing
questions.
them, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we were going to
Review the
kind
notes.
of provide comment on, you know, some of the questions that we were using and then exactly the same. I know that the professor is hesitant on adding questions. The survey is already, you know, relatively long. But you know, the idea and everything was floated if we wanted to, you know, pull some questions and add new ones. We could do that. So.
Sorry, the historical data. So we still wanted historical data. So we
Yes.
don't want to change it too much. And she made that point.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, so some of those questions on some of, you know, like the big focus areas for the commission, we'd want to, you know, leave those questions, you know, same bigger questions, anything on housing and homelessness. We want to keep these. We use that data in the past to effectively enact policy at the city level and change ordinance. So, you know, we want to keep some of those questions, but some of the other ones we could explore changing.
I have to do my obligatory reminding everybody what we're talking about. Or
That's good.
explaining.
That's helpful.
So if you're here, you're likely engaged in the work that we do, but if you don't know what we're talking about an annual survey that goes out to Salem residents or those folks who work in Salem, but may not reside in Salem, around questions of belonging, discrimination, their experiences in Salem. The link that they're referring to is it's 4 pages, two pages double sided. Online, there's branching questions, so it's actually much larger, much longer than 4 pages, but we've gotten increased engagement over the years. This will be the 6th year, 7th year.
Yeah, I want to say the 7th, but
So
I
we're
need to
getting
double check.
historical data, and it goes out into the field in April, May, late spring, basically, and it's in the field usually for a couple of weeks. And then Marianne Bradshaw is a professor at Western Oregon who does like statistics and leadership courses in the master's program, organizational psychology or something like organizational leadership. Thank you. And so she has a spring term, and our work in developing the survey and putting it in the field aligns with her students being in that term. But we do development in the winter months as well, just to ensure that that process isn't hyped and contributed.
I'm still, questions I have, because, and let me give you a little background. When I was looking at my new community, Ward 6, and I don't recall, it could have been somebody I don't recall. Anyway, somebody with the city, I asked the question about profiles for each of the wards, and I was given a link to them. But the profiles did include racial data, gender, but nothing regarding disability, which is kind of the reason why the city has CRIPS's eighth ranking 8th essentially as far as the citizenship is concerned. We can't address the homeless problem until we know what percentage of the population, the homeless population, has disabilities.
60%.
60? Because I saw 40.
It was 67 one year, 65 another year.
Is that here?
In
Okay, so I
Salem.
was looking at general. Okay. So there's that. But we have older communities, mine, where I encounter people with disabilities, but a lot of people are locked up in their homes. Largely because their homes are not accessible. And so they're not out being engaged. And when they do get out of their homes, we have sidewalks that are flat out dangerous. And so that could explain why there's not information. And, you know, I mean, I've been able to throw out the numbers that 28.7% of people nationwide are disabled. What percent of the Sacramento or the Salem population is, has mobility impairments that require mobility aids. It would be nice to know how it's affecting them, because I can sit there and say, this is how it affects people. But unless there are numbers, that's what caused our governmental leadership to actually move. I mean, reduce things to numbers. Gretchen and I were in a meeting the week before last regarding specific issues. And I think it made a better and greater impression that it wasn't just me, that we had three other people with disabilities who were living these issues. And you, only you can indicate what the impact that had on the
Oh, yeah,
other,
strong.
because, so when it's one person talking, that person's dismissed. With numbers, that person can't be dismissed. So my suggestion there would be not to leave us out in any kind of engagement data gathering effort.
So to give you some context and the contour conversations tonight and beyond, disability, of course, is included in the survey as a category that can be discerned based on discrimination or belonging. And you can select as many as you like. You can say, you know, I experience discrimination on the basis of race or income or disability, and then can they kind of aggregate. Disability actually on the form is bifurcated into psychiatric and physical disability, given not that one is inferior to the other, but just that folks who experience these things, though they can experience both of them, have very different experiences usually. The impact of those disabilities are very different. So you select, let's say, you know, physical disability and race. And so you are invited to expand upon what that means for you, and areas in which that, so like places where that happened, variable are available, places of employment, home, places of public accommodation, healthcare, schooling, more. The frequency and the nature of it. And so those are kind of more numerical in nature. And then in addition to that, you're invited to provide commentary to your liking and specificity around those experiences with basically qualitative data, you know, what that made you feel, and your relationship to belonging or discrimination either way. And you do that for each identity. So just to give you a sense of the scope of what we're
when you're talking about physical, though, is it just physical or is it differentiated? Are there additional compartmentalization that occurred? Because what I experience is going to be different than what somebody who's visually impaired is going to experience.
Absolutely.
And it's very difficult to ask a question that both can answer in the same way. That would be my first question. Second question is, as far as outreach, what efforts are made? I realize we're talking about computer generated, but a lot of people with disabilities are living on less than $1,000 a month. A lot of them don't have computers, they don't have broadband, they don't have smartphones. And so how do you get to that group? How are you planning on getting to that group? So that you don't under identify the seriousness or the level of the problem that they're experiencing.
So you have two questions. Your first question had to do with capturing diverse experiences. The way that we have dealt with that has been, so the answer to your first question, the first part of your question is no, we don't, list, if you're deaf or hard of hearing, click this. That nuance of experience is captured in, if you choose to self-report the nature of your discrimination. So all that we see numerically is this a physical disability or a psychiatric disability. People can and often do volunteer. Well, my physical disability is I'm vision impaired, or my psychiatric disability is I have autism or something. These are the things. People can volunteer information. It's not captured in the general form. The reason for that largely is time and space. I would welcome an argument saying, well, if folks are self-selecting disabilities, it's not time and space for them. They're already there to answer and describe their experiences, and we can list certain subcategories.
And it'll be, and I would argue it's easier to click a button than it is for a lot of people to write.
Agreed.
Largely because a lot of these surveys you get related to government don't work with voice dictation software. They can. I mean, Nuance with Dragon Dictate, they will work with the API necessary to be able to do that. But for example, and I raised this with Gretchen, Public Works has, if you encounter a sidewalk that needs to be repaired, fill out the form. The form doesn't work with voice dictation software. And so you physically have to click. And it becomes cumbersome for some people. And some people will not report, because it's kind of like, man, they keep putting barriers in front of me. And that's how it's perceived out in the CRIP community. And so, if you have a survey where the nuance comes in how people respond and write, you're going to lose a lot of information, especially since 5% of the population has 5% of people with disabilities have a 4-year degree, where it's 26% for non-disabled. And so you're also asking people who perhaps don't feel comfortable being able to write, or they can't think of everything at that time. And so, these are probably where you're going to have to realize that there will be gaps in the information you're getting, based on the systems you use to gauge that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you shared, and I thank you for it. The second question was regarding outreach. Our percentage of disabled respondents is normally at parity for the community. We could do, and I would welcome special outreach to those communities in some form or another. We do that for other communities. Our largest effort is around linguistic minorities and people experiencing houselessness. Historically, it's been mostly people experiencing houselessness, where we go out and physically stand with paper questionnaires, because the city's interest in the well-being of the community is high, and ours is as well. And the disabled community could be another part of that special outreach. Caveat being, we have finite resources and time and capacity, and we'll have to make that decision as time approaches. But we do that every year. Oh, go ahead.
There's case workers too, so like,
Yeah,
I did forward it to Shangri-La this past year.
that's right,
and-
yeah.
And they did send it out, so we are, we are considering that. I think like Gretchen, did it go to Center 50+ or any?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
there's a
communicated
couple.
quite a bit. We also, got it onto the Marshall East community, so we've done quite a bit of, outreach to those, service provider organizations to, conduct those surveys. So we've kind of tried using our CBOs as a vehicle to, disseminate this survey. And, I imagine that will be a continued priority for the community engagement committee as we move into the survey this next year, to making sure that we're getting that information out early. We're educating those community partners about the survey, how to conduct it, so we can make sure that they're equipped and comfortable to, work with their individuals to complete it. So.
And one more thing that I was thinking, Robert, as the discussion was happening, was about Professor Bradshaw's point about if you hold qualitative town halls, which we could do one with this disability community. She felt a little reserved about doing that if we didn't have an incentive that, like, usually if you're asking people to donate their time and it's a significant amount of time, and giving their perspective, that there should be a financial incentive for that, and that we obviously don't have budget. And so we had talked about, maybe that's not something we can do this year, but maybe we can get a grant or funding to do a qualitative analysis for the following year. And we can hold more of those town halls, and we can offer like a gift card or some sort of incentive for people who attend, because that is a formal process for those surveys, or, in-person surveys. So that also could solve that problem, right? We can invite community to join, hold it in an ADA accessible location that's central in the community, so.
Well, transportation would be a big issue too.
Yeah.
And so.
But we have to make the effort,
Yeah.
so if we make the effort, we're halfway there.
Might I suggest the outreach this year include medical professionals that deal with people with disabilities?
I think that would align well too with what we learned from our survey last, which was, and even before that, so a lot of discrimination is happening in healthcare settings.
Mhm.
And so a lot of, which isn't really news to anybody, but a lot of our, especially for the queer community and disabled community, so we've been having a lot of conversations on not how to remedy that, so much as how to begin having conversations around that with our healthcare partners, and so that they might lead well into that.
Thank you. And before we go on to our next committees, for new members and also guests, you're always welcome to join our committees. You don't have to be an official member of the commission, but if you are interested, send Gretchen an email, and we'll get you on there.
Invite your friends.
Invite your friends. The LGBTQIA+ committee. Kira, you want me to do that? You got it.
I wasn't there, so feel free to chime in. I read the minutes. I could give you I could give you a brief overview.
Do it.
All right. So something outside of the committee, names for TDOR were sent to Joaquin. We were a little late on that, so Joaquin left, but make sure he knows that if he doesn't have time to let me know. But we've got the flyers out for TDOR, and we've got the Facebook invite done, which Gretchen informed me right before the meeting that unfortunately, when they share the event, comments are now allowed on that particular post. They're not allowed on the event itself if you go to the event page, but they are allowed on the post. So our workaround kind of worked, but kind of didn't. So anyways, and thus far we have 2 readers who have volunteered. So if anyone is interested, there are 422 names. So it'd be great if anyone else would love to volunteer for that. And then as far as what happened in the committee, they talked about TDOR quite a bit. And the committee decided to change names from LGBTQIA plus intersectional rights. Am I saying that right, Kelsey?
Yeah.
I'm saying that right. Okay. Okay. To just LGBTQIA plus committee now. So that was a change they made. Am I missing anything, Kelsey?
I don't think so. I think so. We're talking about Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is an annual event that it's a worldwide event, but we host every year on November 20th. So that is what Kira is speaking of.
Apologies, I forgot there was new people that did not know.
So the format of the event is we have speakers who read out the names of those who have been murdered or lost their lives to anti-trans violence, including suicide. And it's live streamed, but we always need people to read. Kira, who do you have as readers so far?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me pull up. Do you have it, Gretchen?
I
Right
do.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Laura Fouts and Corey Timmons.
Okay. Did you email the previous year's readers?
I did not. I can do that if I have emails. Is that in your document?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, I'll double check that and I will reach out to them.
I think it is.
I think it is too.
But
I might have missed it. I've read that document like 8 times, and so there's every time I find something new.
if you can't find them, let me know and I'll email you them.
Okay.
Have we mentioned that Commissioner Lynn will be a speaker?
Oh, we have not. I don't think we've said that.
Okay,
No.
Yeah.
someone say it.
Well, Commissioner Lynn is graciously offered to be our guest speaker, and the committee agreed, and we are very excited to have them. So, yeah, yay!
They also designed the flyers.
They did.
Last year, and they did a wonderful job on those designs.
I agree.
They aren't here, but our praise to Commissioner Lynn.
Yes, much kudos to them.
So please share the Facebook event with your networks. Share the flyer. We posted it around town. Yeah, and if you are wanting, please go to the event also. But readers are always really great to have. Jeffrey?
Not to bring the mood down a little bit, but will the police be available to provide for security?
Yes, so
Yes.
we always have the police available. We did we talk about this at the last meeting or the last meeting?
The outfit.
I think it was a couple meetings. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they won't be in plain clothes, but there'll be something identifying them as police officers. So trying to find that balance between making people feel safe, but also acknowledging that the harm that has happened with the transgender and gender expansive communities with policing.
Is it appropriate perhaps to have a little bit more than normal for this event in light of how some people are feeling about the election results?
Like close by, maybe? Absolutely, not a bad point.
We do always have folks on speed dial if it's
Yeah.
needed, but we don't, absent my general understanding, and I shouldn't speak for the department, but absent any sort of real or credible threat, we don't have resource to provide proactive
I
staff.
think
But we
November
have,
5 was a credible threat.
but we do have, but just to a specific date and time and event.
Okay.
But we do have lots of access quick if that's needed for us.
I think it's also we need to be mindful of police department staffing levels. And I
Yeah.
think Sergeant Dowd might not have been said near the end of the meeting, but I think in a conversation, he also mentioned that if we wanted to, he could probably bring, a marked unit. He could arrive in a marked unit if we wanted, just a marked unit parked outside and a turnaround. of, Lux Auditorium, kind of just giving that visual, preference while still having him kind of more, dressed down approachable uniform, and that's something we could decide on if we wanted, just like that.
Yeah, we've done
Visual
that some years and other
use
years
of
the group
force.
hasn't wanted
Yeah.
to, that's true, yeah.
To one more thing, Robert, I seen in the minutes that you said you were going to reach out to Chariots to see if they would provide
Oh,
rides.
yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for,
no, it's okay.
bringing
I
that.
just wanted to see if
Yes.
you had.
They, yes, they got back to us last week, and Chariots has graciously offered to provide free transportation to and from the Transgender Day of Remembrance, as well as Salem Speaks Up. So
Awesome.
Good for Chariots.
the new leadership team, on
I'm
Chariots,
biased.
they've been extremely supportive of a lot of the events that we've held for the Human Rights Commission, as well as, just providing, transportation to our unhoused folks and kind of reducing those transportation barriers. So we're excited to continue to partner with Chariots to make sure that these events are accessible to everybody. So,
Thank you for doing it.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. That's all I had.
Perfect. It is 1 week from today. I just realized that.
Right?
Okay, so, yeah, if you are interested in reading, it helps a lot, because like Kira said, as of right now, there's over 420 names.
422.
So it's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And thank you, Joaquin, for doing the
Yes.
pronunciation.
you're welcome.
And you walked out, Joaquin, when I said if you don't have time because the chair got it to you late, just let me know.
Yeah, thanks, Kara. I was telling Gretchen before we were on air that if I can't do it before tomorrow afternoon, I'll call you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because I'm leaving for Mexico, so
I will enlist the help of others in my household.
I'll do my best. I could at least do maybe 200.
Okay. No, that's great. Thank you.
Say with someone.
Do we have any other Spanish speakers on the commission?
Not to my knowledge.
Said.
So.
Yeah. Well,
I'm-
what do you mean my Spanish speaker?
I know, but they're going there to Columbia meeting in January. I'll bring up the conversation.
Yeah.
We might be able to.
Get their service for
Trying to get
9 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I said enlist, I meant make my sister-in-law help me.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
I told you, Billy Maria. Anyway,
All right. Process Review Task Force, Ilana is not here. Does someone want to take that on? I'll talk about the process. Yeah, so, we started this task force out of feedback from, our couple of meetings around like the Gaza proclamation, and how we can make a like hot topic, meeting like move smoothly.
Yeah.
In the future. So we wanted to formalize some of our processes, and just like get them down in writing. So a few of us have been working on this for the last couple of months, just drafting up some new bylaws and guidances. And we've just been chipping away. I feel like we've gotten a good chunk of the way through.
Yeah, I would say I've made a lot of really good progress, and I'm excited to, finish that material, bring it forward to the entire commission. I think some of, the policies have been chipping away at, and ideas will bring, some really good and valuable structure, to the commission, while still kind of maintaining that, more relaxed environment that we have that, is welcoming of, both commissioners and guests. So I'm excited. I think we've done a really good job of kind of striking that balance between, professional governance and, accessibility and welcomeness. So
Robert.
you're learning from the master.
Oh, come on.
See, I just realized I missed a note on the agenda.
Okay.
I think we had talked about adding to the agenda today, the event feedback form.
Oh,
And
yes,
somehow I
I was
just
gonna
remembered that. Yeah.
I was gonna
Bring it up under-
remarks.
That works too.
Perfect.
Perfect, we'll do that. Great.
Perfect. Okay, Salem Speaks Up.
It's also you.
Talking too much. So Salem Speaks Up, Tuesday, December 10th at Laux Auditorium. Doors open at 5:30, start at 6, goes until about 8. So this is kind of an open mic event, so we're gonna. Hold up. It takes place on December 10th because of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. That is when that was signed. And our idea is to kind of just get feedback for people to talk about their lived experiences in Salem. And we're going to start the event with some information from the Fair Housing Council, a little bit of focus on housing and houselessness. And then starting at 6:30 at the latest is when we start our speak up. So people will have an opportunity to come up to an open mic, speak for about 3 minutes. Like I said, about concerns or great things or just what is happening. And
Where is this?
it's in Laux Auditorium, which is at the library. Doors open at 5:30, starts at 6. There will be refreshments.
Yeah, okay. So obviously I've been able to bring this to the rest of the planning team for Salem Speaks Up, but we were able to secure Jimmy Jones, the executive director for the Midland Valley Community Action Agency, as our keynote speaker. So he'll be, gonna helping open the event, with about, 2 to 3 minutes. I think we agreed on, opening remarks, followed by some, resources, from Salem Housing Council on, kind of what is discrimination in terms of housing, and then followed by the Speak Us Up portion, as well as we'll have a slide deck playing at the beginning, as well as the breaks and everything that have resources in QR codes. So I've been compiling those so that resources are readily available to individuals.
Most important, I forgot about this. Robert's gonna be our MC, so.
Oh, yes, that's also facilitating my stuff.
It's gonna be great. Hope to see everyone there.
Can help us set up. Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Considering what's happening in our other room and some contention over there in our budget committee. And considering there are changes happening with administration, would it maybe be a nice show of community to have outgoing Mayor Chris Hoy and incoming Mayor Julie Hoy be together and show community at this event? Is that something possible? I don't know. But Gretchen's I don't know.
We do invite them.
We do invite them.
And the mayor came last year.
Yep.
Also there's a proclamation that they do, but
it'd be refreshing.
I'd be happy to ask her if one of you wanted to directly ask, that'd be okay too.
It'd be nice for the community to see let's start this on a positive note and not a negative note, because I think, when you open for feedback, it automatically goes negative, right? And so if you see 2 leaders that are starting something positively instead of negatively, I think it could set a tone, right? So just an idea. I know it'd be difficult, but yeah.
you never know unless this idea.
Crazy things. So if you would like me to write something up, Gretchen, I could do that and send it to you.
I would
Okay.
take you up on that.
Great, wonderful. All right, equity ask and staff update.
Next month, unless things change, I just wanted to let you know that our city manager Keith Staley asked for a few moments on the agenda, so he would like to come and talk. I think about generally the budget and the climate and all of the things. So wanted you to know about that request. And then the Process Task Force had been interested in getting our city attorney Dan Atchison to an upcoming meeting. But I'm thinking that might be a lot in the same meeting and wondering about maybe having Dan come in January. But I'll work with the new chair and vice chair on that, but wanted to just share that. And that is all I've got for tonight.
Perfect, thank you. Community calendar.
All right, I have only 2 events,
Whoa.
which is, I feel is sad, this month. I wish there was more that I could, speak on, but I have 2 events that we're a part of already, so we've already been discussing. But November 20th, we have Transgender Day of Remembrance at Lux Auditorium from 6 to 7. And we'll be joining to remember the lives lost by our transgender neighbors. So we're doing that. And then December 10th, we have Salem Speaks Up, which we were just talking about again. Yes, we have our annual community event at Lux Auditorium again, from 6 to 8. Doors opening at 5:30. We're building bridges to peace and community with celebration of the International Human Rights Proclamation. The focus this year is on fair housing, and a portion of time is going to be spent on houselessness. That is what I have this time. And hopefully we have more.
Excellent. I have a question. Gretchen, isn't there an event for Center 50 Plus for like gifts or decorating, wrapping, something?
That is so nice of you to ask. I can find it and forward it out if you'd like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to provide donations and gift wrapping towards people who were in their homes or in care facilities, and yeah, I'll find out and send it. Thank you for asking.
There's a couple like holiday downtown things coming back. It's just like on the, I don't know, social media.
Which I don't have, so I wouldn't have these things.
What?
Okay, I'll have to.
So
find them.
Hope every month has graciously been kind of compiling community events and shares them with us.
Anyone please send me
I will.
events if you find them, because I only have, I only
Good for
have
you.
a few things and I'd love to have more, so, yeah.
Member remarks and announcements, Robert.
Yes, so I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to take a look at it, or Gretchen might be able to also pull it up if we wanted to. I took a stab at an event feedback form. I know it was something that had come up after, Homeless Services Town Hall, and as, the commission looks at, doing, engaging in a lot more events. It might be great for us to, kind of, collect people's, kind of feedback, what do they think of the event, in terms of, venue, presentation. So I welcome anybody's, feedback on this. It's relatively short. The program that was designed, and I know there was an issue with people being able to view it, but I changed that if you guys wanted to just go in and take a look and a stab at the link now. But the software this was created in as well was created using ArcGIS's Survey 123, which would be able to it would easily integrate with a lot of the other data project stuff that we're doing. And so as we continue to move forward with the data focus as commission, we'll be able to incorporate some of this information. So any thoughts?
I should have thought to call that up. I'm wondering if you would like to see it on the screen. Do any of you online happen to have the link handy? I could enable you to share, but if not, it'll take me just a second to get it to where I think I can share it on this computer. Okay, I'll work on it. I'll work on it while you're talking.
I think like event schedule and timing could be like / length of event or something. I think it's kind of implied by schedule, but I think the town hall may have been not long, but I think maybe some of the feedback I received was people wanted a little bit more time for Q&A.
Okay.
And presentations went a little long. So
on what section was that?
it is in our first block of event organization.
Oh, event scheduling and timing.
Yeah.
So you're thinking like another.
Yeah, so
Question
maybe even breaking out event
You're good,
schedule
Karen.
and then like length of event or timing of event or something, like maybe
200%.
breaking those out.
Okay.
I think, Gretchen, I think I have it. It's the event feedback form, right?
Right,
I got
thank you.
I got it pulled up so I can share it.
She just made you co.
I just made you co-host, so you should
Okay.
be able to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You're awesome, Kira.
Yeah, no problem.
There
Can you
go.
see
Yeah,
it?
you can see it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You may want to zoom in a little bit if you can.
Yeah.
Are you
absolutely.
able to zoom? Oh, there she goes. She caught you. Good.
Let me know when you're ready for me to scroll.
Scroll.
But yeah, I was talking about the second block in that.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, can you back up? What do you mean by?
Oh, too far?
Yes,
Sorry.
communication before the event, what do you mean?
So communication before the like advertisement, like how do people think that we did, you know, and getting word about the event out? ahead
So
of
I
time?
would reword that because it is confusing.
Do you have a language suggestion? Outreach?
Outreach, I would say outreach
Okay.
about the event.
I like that, yeah. We can change
Or
that.
even pre-event outreach if you wanted specific timing.
Oh, that's good.
I might,
Event
yeah,
outreach.
that would make it.
So Kate, your point was about length, you said?
Well, I feel like.
Was that
Can you
above?
scroll up a little bit? Sorry.
Mhm. No, you're fine.
The event schedule / timing, the schedule's one thing. Timing of the event could be like time of day, time, like, you know, time of the week, timing.
Okay,
And then,
yeah.
the length of the event. So the schedule is like, was the formatting good? Was it Q&A and speakers? Was that good for schedule? But then the length of the event,
Okay.
was it too long? Is it 3 hours long? Is it 2 hours long? Is it 1 hour long? Is it 30 minutes?
So I'm wondering if schedule is not the right word, potentially.
Yeah.
Because it could be a more descriptive word if we're looking for like what was on the agenda. basically what was
Right,
covered.
yeah, maybe agenda, but I think those things are almost three different things.
And I
that
want
are
length to be
really
different for sure.
interesting, yeah, like I would want
Yeah,
feedback.
I could
on
see it,
everything.
yeah, event length.
You want feedback from all three?
I think so. Every time.
Okay.
It's fun.
One day I'm gonna break this.
Like, would that be like content? Schedule,
Event,
day and time?
content.
You have something help.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
I think.
Like
for the
thinking
event is
like,
good.
yeah, we should definitely have one, I think that's like length of event, and if
Or
we're
duration.
looking for, yeah, that as
Yeah,
well.
duration.
And if we're looking for a second one, like agenda or itinerary is what I'm thinking, just because agenda could be seen as the focus of the event was not what someone wanted it to be on when they're talking about like poor to excellent instead of the time and content of each part of the event.
Itinerary is a word that's hard to
Yeah,
define though. so
I
don't
know,
think people-
which is why I'm thinking like it's more like.
But I see what you mean, like
It's
the
not
agenda
exact.
can be misconstrued a little bit too, if people say like, you have an agenda.
That's what I was thinking of.
Like
I can't think of,
particularly
like, good-
our upset customer at that event, for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can chew on some,
Yeah,
a word
Yeah.
to word that.
but that's a
Yeah.
great start in that section. I think that's great. And we don't want to make it too long, but I think
Just
that's helpful.
I think you're free to scroll down, Kara.
Mhm.
Thank you.
One aspect of physical accessibility, though, is the ability to get to the event. And I'm not sure that's covered by physical accessibility of venue.
I'm with that though, I mean, we can't always control, you know, the accessibility of somebody getting to the event. I mean, we can't control somebody's transportation to, you know, an event. We certainly do, certainly made significant strides in, you know, trying to partner with, you know, charities and other partners to get there. I think, you know, for this, we're really kind of, I wouldn't add with the focus or anything of the things that we do kind of control. I mean, we control the venue that we, you know, select. We control, you know, what language accessibility,
Okay.
you know, services we offer. We could though add in there anything, you know, that piece of transportation, people feel like there was enough public resources for.
Well, Jeffrey, do you think if someone was having a hard time getting to the venue, that they would just rank that low? To my mind,
No,
really.
well, unless it's specifically asked. Like if you ask for physical accessibility to the venue, most people are not gonna think, oh, transportation, did I have difficulty getting there? And but then again, the problem is if you expand it to that, I think that's going down a rabbit hole that I don't think is appropriate for this forum.
We could add a question, accessibility of public transportation to the event.
Or even at the end, did you utilize the free services of Chariots, transportation or like, because if we are offering that, right, like with a partnership with
Yeah.
Chariot, so we could ask that question directly.
I think before adding that though, because typically we've done it on kind of just a question by question, but now that we've explored their partnership with that, I think maybe it might be, with Gretchen, maybe you and I could reach out, see if we could sit down, maybe see there's a way that the Human Rights Commission could just get an MOU. Rather than having to, continuously ask.
Sure.
Maybe if there's a way that we could, enter into, if the commission could enter into an agreement with Chariots that, these events that are sponsored by the Human Rights Commission that focus on, topics of human rights, Chariots has agreed to, that way we're not, because right now we're asking, we're waiting, for a response, and maybe there's a way that we can just.
Who you talk to?
I've typically just reached out to Brian McGowan, and then he's kind of sent it up and then kind of come back down, but if you have somebody else, we might be able to.
On second thought, I'd leave the transportation out as much as possible because that's a rabbit hole. Because you've got chariots, you've got buses, you've got vehicles, so parking. And so if we started asking about accessibility to transportation, that's something we have to rethink, I think, in the future.
Yeah.
Because if it's at the library, there's no parking in the library parking garage, no crib parking at all. And so I could see that, I don't know.
I do like the idea if we can formalize a partnership with Chariots as a public transportation provider. I do like the idea of adding a question, on that, because I think that data could also really help, Chariots as well. And
A quick follow-up. We also have vendors at that event. It sounds like we might have like other offerings at more events, but like if we have vendors consistently or community-based partners, did you interact with a community-based partner or vendor at the event, something like that?
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
No, I was just trying to find something on my phone related to this. I couldn't.
I'm sharing my screen, so I can't raise my hand. So this is me raising my. I think having the question about the transportation, like, did you utilize the free public transportation to get here, might actually be a really good thing, because then you can show some justification. Hey, Chariots, we got this many people that are utilizing the service for these events. Like, can we extend this into a full-time thing with the HRC? So it might, I don't know, I think it might be a good thing.
Yeah, it's an advertisement.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. People might not know about it. And sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
It might help with your outreach in the future, to know if they're using that service, maybe you can advertise it more.
Yeah.
Are y'all ready for me to move? Okay.
I like the color change, Robert.
So under content and delivery, you don't have the rating scale. You might want to.
Yeah, like
The
one
Likert scale
being
is.
bad, 5 being also.
Oh, yes. It's good to know. Thank you.
And maybe not, so maybe that's also where you, instead of putting all the timing and subject questions up top, you could, maybe there's enough here, like timing could be like length of speaker, and something like that. Maybe it's not all of it.
It seems like it gets better.
Impact in terms of impact on the individual attending.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of what I was like. Did you find the event like impact, like the information you gained from that? Like, would you say that, it was run away? Like, did you feel moved by it? Did you feel like it had an impact on, either like your understanding of, the topic, or, an impact on, you in terms of like motivating you to wanna, maybe get more engaged in that particular topic.
I would clarify that. I
Yeah.
think that's not good,
I would add language on like either emotional or informational impact, and you could just put them together.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, like both ends of it.
So when are they filling out this survey?
So after the event, my idea, because this would be a survey that we would use all the time, like the link would stay the same, is that we've normally at our events had kind of an HRC welcome table, so we could have, kind of a, like a thing, like one of those little like document things that would be like, hey, please, check out this event. And then we've used the Lux Auditorium quite a bit. I like the idea of, having slides for our events. And one of the things we did was we had a conclusion slide at the Homeless Services Town Hall with a QR code that people can, scan. So the idea was that people could, just scan it, fill it out, and then their way out. But then as well as it's open-ended, so people might just welcome you. We can also have like little, quarter-sized pieces of paper that just have a link in them and say, please fill this out.
You can also create like a custom Bitly link or something too.
The reason I ask is I do plain language editing for the state, and people don't like to read. And it seems like some of the language is a little long, that maybe we can, tighten that up a little bit.
Well, that's very useful.
You're here.
So
I'm open to editing me. I can edit the survey.
that'd be great. I could also, if you want to, I can share my email address and your information, but if you want to, contribute and take a stab at,
Yeah,
reading some of
absolutely.
the language, you definitely welcome that.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Kira, do you want to scroll a little?
Yeah, actually, I also have a question too. Robert, is there a possibility for us to have this like available so people could take it there? The reason I ask is because is this Google Forms? It's not Google Forms, is it? Never mind. Ignore me. I was gonna say accessibility wise, it may not be like easy for people to fill it out if we don't have something they could fill it out on. I don't know if that's like an option at the end if people don't have phones or like anything that they can fill it out on. If we had something they could take a moment to do it.
Yeah.
We can have bigger options. So that-
Yeah.
okay, folks.
Yeah, I just like
Yeah.
another option might be a great idea.
Thank you, Karen.
I think you can keep scrolling.
Say, I really love the font. It's so easy to read.
It's pretty simple.
Mhm.
I can keep going,
I
maybe.
think we're there.
Yeah, would we want like would you recommend future HRC events to your friends? And then here's the link to our website question.
Similarly, any topics you'd like the two-seater to cover?
Yeah. I was about to
Yes.
say that one.
How about, would you like to be notified of future events? Please put your email address.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really good.
The neighborhood associations wanted to come to that, and by all rights could have come to that event, but felt they did not have marketing materials ahead of time, or were not informed ahead of time. So we may want to just make sure they have all the information for the next one. I mean, I can forward it to people, the two. Yeah, you gave me all the collateral. I can do that for mine.
Thank you.
But I know
I do
Celine is
also-
involved in Highland, so we can do that, but
I do also send for distribution to all of the neighborhood associations, but I wonder about the timing.
Yeah.
And if it's coming early enough for them, I could have a
Maybe.
conversation with our neighborhood services person about that, to see, am I getting stuff to you early enough to get it out to everybody? It's a fair question,
Interesting.
but I am sharing it that way.
good to know, Gretchen, good to know.
Copy that.
Okay.
I also know more than one had meetings that night
Yeah.
during the
during the event.
I also would second asking about how early it's going out, because I do know that the West Salem Neighborhood Association meeting has now moved to every other month.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only the executive meeting every month because of just lack of involvement, and so if they're.
Yeah, that's a good point. Earlier we can get flyers out, the earlier we can get it in the hands of folks, and yeah, that's good feedback.
Mine would love to come to Salem Speaks Up.
Okay.
So,
They're
we will let
invited.
them know, yes.
Good point. Anything else for Robert in feedback form?
No, great job.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Take credit for those edits and.
Gretchen can put you back. Yeah. Do
Judy, you have a great skill set. I'm very excited.
Yes,
you have any vacancies on the commission?
we have 3.
She's
So, next.
We just go into the city council meeting right now. So happy.
How many applicants are here?
You know, well, we just had 3 appointed. You might be, I don't remember for sure,
Okay, that's okay.
but you might be our applicant right now.
Thank you.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Exciting.
All right, any other member remarks and announcements?
I'd like the commission to establish a committee on disability.
Okay.
We're 28.7% of the population. We are the least service of marginalized groups, and the people next door are cutting budgets, and it will fall heavily on our community, as it always does. That's what we've been encountering since 1977. Oh, we don't have the money. We don't. You gotta wait. You gotta wait until we have the money. Oh, we don't have the money. And it's having an impact on the community. I mean, you saw a couple people almost be in tears the other night.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
About, I mean, it's so bad. One of the people who was in this meeting is moving out of Salem because she can't find an accessible apartment. And the reason she can't find an accessible apartment is because she's going and, oh yeah, we have accessible apartments, but you're third on the list. And so it's being rented to people who don't need an accessible apartment. So she's having to move out of the city. It's a problem. And it would relieve the homelessness problem if we built more accessible housing units. And there's money coming out of the state for affordable housing, but none of it is required to be accessible. So,
Clarifying question.
yes,
And also this is kind of for our chairs too. We have community engagement and that covers a lot of our different populations. So it's kind of like an umbrella committee, with outreach to all these different groups, right? Would this be I also have a disability, it's just not a parent. So would this be in I don't know, population that would maybe fall under community engagement? So Joaquin, Robert, what are your thoughts? And then also Jeffrey, what are your thoughts?
It might, but you have a community that is desperately looking for people to listen. And by shoving people off onto an already committee dealing with a whole bunch of other groups, they're going to see it as, again, we're being kind of lost in the shuffle. And I talk to people all the time, and the city doesn't care about us. This is a very clear way of saying that the city should care, or does care. It also sends a message to the council, because a couple of us have been pushing for a Disability Rights Commission. And if we say, you know, the Human Rights Commission think it's an important enough topic, then we can argue a Disability Rights Commission. Because, I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff that wouldn't really be something that you wanted to take up the time of the Public Engagement Committee, because we're looking at, we have a 2-year-old comprehensive plan, 176 pages of policy. There are 3 mentions of disability, 1 mention of accessibility, and 1 mention of disabled. And every single one of those items are, we should encourage this. There's no data that's set out for, let's say, quantifying the problem of accessible housing. Nothing that quantifies what means accessible transportation. And so when you don't put that front and center, you don't see the need. Perfect example. We're having a debate now whether or not the development code is adequate to provide for accessible housing. And of course, the bureaucrats say, oh, well, we don't have to because of this.
I understand that, and not to speak for Joaquin or Robert either, but I think the hard part is that you could argue the same case for every single population across, like homelessness, right? You could argue that that should have a committee. You could argue that.
I would argue that, yes.
Yeah, you could, right? So, sure, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No, but I mean, just we've had many people come in and make the case for different populations, and so I just want to be cognizant of the fact that we have a very diverse population here, and by all rights, absolutely. I agree with you that maybe there should be a different commission, and that maybe we can fight that battle and we can support that. But I think my concern is that there are already a lot of committees, and I think some of us are on multiple, and it's already a little spread thin. So if you do create one and we say yes, I will join it. But I think it's a little hard when we have multiple commissioners on multiple committees. It's multiple meetings per month, and it just pulls us a little thin. Whereas maybe the outlet is supposed to be a different commission and a very concentrated effort.
But it doesn't need to be populated by just commissioners.
Correct. We've had a hard time getting people to come in to be part of that.
And I would argue on that we have had a ballot measure on homelessness after the city council made a decision for homelessness. Not saying that it's not a problem, because a large portion of people are homeless.
Mm-hmm.
But things tend to get lost. If you listen to an orchestra, it's really difficult to pull out the sound of the first violinist.
Yeah.
And we've been under this rubric of inclusion, and we're not included.
Yeah.
And so we're feeling it's time to put it right there in front of everybody's face. We're not included. And intersectionality, I mean, we are an equal opportunity membership, and disability falls more severely on people of color.
Those are good points.
And so we don't want to get lost again. And what we're arguing, we're already kind of heard that there's a financial question to starting a Disability Rights Commission. And the problem we run into in policing, in transportation, in planning, is all due to that voice not being there. And even to a point where the Disability Rights Commission, to function properly, cannot be just Salem residents. It has to be people representing the different subgroups of disability. I can sit here and like I mentioned with Gretchen, closed captioning. I can say, person who is hearing issues may have a problem with this meeting, but they're the ones that live with it every day and they know the strategies to use to get it done. Same thing with the visual impaired. I know enough to be able to say, okay, well, you need to be able to address the needs of that community. They'll tell you what's the best screen reader to use, if screen readers is possible. And so that's where we're going with this, but the problem is we don't want to get lost again. And actually, when Gretchen first approached me about being a member of this commission, the very thing I said was, get lost among the noise. And we've seen that elsewhere, because you do have all of these different interests that some things will get lost. And people I deal with don't want to get lost in them. I mean, give you an example of things that get lost. I encountered a gentleman about a month ago who, along D Street, D Street's dangerous, so he drives out in the street. He had a cop want to give him a ticket one day for driving his wheelchair out in the street. That gets lost in the noise.
Jeffrey, can I put
Yeah.
a pin in that for a second?
Yeah.
I think, so how in the past we've established committees and task
Mhm.
forces. It's kind of a couple of month long discussion about like, where's our energy going? So like the data visualization task force, for example, which eventually got sucked into the community engagement committee, as we were talking about how do we get information out there about the data that we're collecting as a commission with like the survey and the bias crime and discrimination reports. And we've kind of like developed that, and then also kind of had a plan on who would be a membership of that committee. Gretchen is one person and she has to attend all of our committee and task force meetings. Like what is her capacity, what is our capacity? So I think it might be beneficial to the commission if next month for our meeting, if you want to come with kind of a scope. So like a plan for your committee, kind of what would the scope, the nature be, potential like community partners who would be interested in joining it. And maybe have a conversation with Gretchen about capacity. If she has capacity, and then we as a commission can talk about if we have a capacity to support another committee. Because I mean, you're very passionate about it, and I know multiple people on this commission are also passionate about disability rights. So maybe kind of getting a little bit more information so that we can start discussing it, and whether that plan is to hold it in the commission for a bit, and then maybe you get the full disability rights commission once it's like a proven thing under us. Does that sound like a plan?
I don't know, because you want me to identify people, and I can tell you, people aren't going to commit unless they know it actually exists. So you're talking a chicken or egg situation here.
Sure.
You'd be amazed at how many times I've gone to people and said, would you be involved in this? Well, let me know if you get started. They'll join if it exists. Otherwise, it's just another, out there, oh, gee, would you like to do this? And then it disappears.
If you could get us as much information as possible, I think that would be helpful for us. And like how you can also like reach out to like commissioners and ask for like input or help or thoughts. Does that sound okay?
I'd be happy to meet with you too, Jeffrey, to talk about it. I think my general comment is, of course, to be in favor of it. it would be hypocritical of me. I'm a wheelchair user. I serve on the Orleans Disabilities Commission. I've been district organizing for years and years and years and years at the national level. Of course, I want to see something like this happen in Salem. My chief concern talking to you now is Gretchen's capacity. You mentioned folks don't want to sign on because they don't know if it can be taken seriously. I see that every day with communities I work with, and they're right. If we rubber stamp something, I can't promise it'll be successful. And what I can promise is that it'll take a lot of Gretchen's time and a lot of time at the commission, and it may very likely fail. And that would be not just a load on this commission and its staff, but a disservice to the community. So if something like this is to happen, which I hope it does, whether in the near future or in the kind of medium to long-term future, I want it to be successful. And to me, that means that we have a group of folks who are interested, maybe aren't committing. We have objects and goals for the committee, things that they want to accomplish and or do, areas of policy. You probably have a few dozen that come to mind right now as I'm talking to you. I do. And also keep in mind what the role of a committee, as part of a commission, as part of a council, as part of a city is. What is the role of a committee? What is obtainable and what is not? I often find, especially in disability justice spaces, our problems are so large in magnitude and so totalizing in scope that committees, commissions, boards often tread water. And I'd like to find ways to materially help folks with disabilities in Salem. And the best way that I know to do that is to be specific and to support that work to the best of our ability. And so I'll just close by saying, Jeffrey, that we have several committees and task force ongoing that meet for an aggregate of about half a dozen hours outside of this commission, and Gretchen dutifully supports those. One of our task force is sunsetting in the near future, probably by the end of the year, which is the process task force. The data governance, though part of the community engagement committee, will be exiting the community engagement committee and probably meeting quarterly at some point, and hopefully in the new year. And so I won't categorically say that we don't have the capacity, but I would encourage you to reach out to Gretchen, and the three of us can meet as well. Or the four of us can meet separately and talk about it. Because my other concern is we're stretched so thin, and none of the good work that we want to do can be done well. I would agree with your instinct, though, around not placing it as a part of the community engagement's work. I think it would be lost there. And we have a precedent. We have an LGBTQ rights committee that does work like what you're describing, but for a different community. And so whether it's in the form of a committee or whether it's whatever, what I can commit to is that I'm really interested in finding a home for the work that you're describing, and I want to do it.
I think there's, two, ways that we can, chat frequency. I think we kind of get into the mindset because a lot of our committees meet, monthly, doesn't necessarily have to be, the case. And, I think that's something that, as well as we, look into it, is it something that, if we move that direction, can we, start with, like a quarterly thing, but then, ramp up as things get busy and slow down. But I agree with a lot what you're saying. I think we can, everything you've mentioned, I think everybody here is, super passionate about, wanting to change this Salem for the better, and, wanting to change the outcome for, our community members in need. But, run into are we stretching ourselves so thin that, we meet, but then we're not, really accomplishing or putting, forth quality effort and anything into our outcomes. And, it's definitely something we want to, consider. And again, we also have to be mindful that, Gretchen's sole job isn't just human rights. And so, in addition to, the amount of time she's committing to be present at the meetings, and then, preparing material, prior to and after the meetings, as well as, the additional duties that she has. And those are all things that, you know, need to be factored in. When you think about her, you know, commitment, you know, it's easy to think, well, she attends 3 meetings, it's like 4 hours, like, there's a lot of other work to, you know, that's being done, so.
We are at 8, so I just want to be mindful of that. Any other remarks on that?
I think I'll round us out as a general comment. I think it would be inappropriate to not acknowledge what has happened this month. You know, American citizens exercise their voting privileges, and we have a new administration coming in January. And I think no matter where you fall in the political divide, it is abundantly clear that values and policies of the administration are orthogonal. They do not align with the work that we do here at the commission, and it would be the least surprising thing in the world to see upticks or flare-ups of discrimination. And I just want to name that, and it might be a challenge. Well, it will be a challenging year, and so just know that as commissioners, as part of the city, you know, we're here to support one another and to do our best to support folks in Salem. And I really look forward now more than ever to working with you all to make sure that folks are served, find a home here. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Joaquin. Appreciate that. This is my last meeting as vice chair, so
And a good one.
thank you all.
Thank you.
I want to like Joaquin and Gretchen. I don't think I would be on this commission after the Gaza stuff if it wasn't for you two. So thank you all so much. Thank you all for being supportive and like just being like good people, and these are always a highlight of my month. So thank you all so much. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
I think I have another year, right?
I think you do too.
I think I have another year. All right, we're done. Have a good night,